In Consumer Corner, we take a look at the trends and products that are creating a buzz in China today. And today we look at the issue of affluent Chinese choosing to live in the U.S. Chinese developers are venturing overseas. Wealthy locals and mainland speculators are buying apartments from New York to Sydney, while the Chinese government restrains its domestic property market. Last September, Xinyuan Real Estate Company purchased a lot zoned for condominiums near New York's Brooklyn waterfront. This deal was the first of its kind by a Chinese firm in the U.S. Xinyuan paid $54 million for the site and plans to spend another $200 million on development. Total condo sales are expected to be between $250 and $350 million. This company is scouring for other stateside projects and expects to sell about 40% of its units to mainland Chinese. Omer Ozden, a U.S.-based advisor to Xinyuan, told the Wall Street Journal that American companies and local developers welcome the Chinese. It is a win-win situation, since working with well-funded and financially stable Chinese investors will eventually connect them with even more potential buyers back in China. 2012 was a record year for such Chinese investment in the U.S., with the total value reported at about $6.5 billion. America's economy is swinging back, with housing prices said to be up by 7.5% in 2012 from 2011, which was the biggest rise in 6 years. Warren Buffett said last year that stocks play second fiddle to real estate in the long haul. Industry insiders say that the time is right to invest in U.S. properties, and international developers are heeding these trends. Low prices and a weak dollar have been major reasons for increased U.S. purchases by foreigners. International sales totaled $82.5 billion for the first 12 months ending in March 2012. Chinese investment into the U.S. real estate market has been steadily growing because the Chinese government has tried to deflate the housing bubble at home by applying restrictions and property taxes. More Chinese capital is being rerouted to the U.S. Chinese buyers accounted for $9 billion in U.S. residential sales last year, up 11% year on year. Many rich Chinese have soured on China's real estate market, and local developers realize that return on local investments is not likely to be as good as in the boom years. They know that the game is changing, and they have to change with it. Along with attractive prices and the currency advantage, higher foreign returns are also driving Chinese property investors. The average profit margin listed on the Shanghai Property Index fell off by 4% this year, compared with a 59% rise in profits for Bloomberg World Real Estate Index. Most of the 24 Chinese real estate development firms now in the U.S. are seeking residential projects, commercial buildings, and luxury hotels. They focus on gateway cities where affluent Chinese like to live, primarily New York, Los Angeles, and San Francisco, as well as Miami. Buyers typically use these condos as investments to rent out, as second homes, and for their children who are studying in America. Chinese-style lavish spending is also reflected in buying up overseas properties in bulk. One Chinese buyer clinched a deal for 35 apartments while at home in China. She signed the checks after glancing at some photographs. A realtor in New York said American brokers favor Chinese buyers since Chinese buyers tend to make their decisions promptly. Besides, they pay upfront and in cash is always welcome. Chinese swarming to snap up properties in the U.S. has made a splash in the virtual world. Netizens freely express their opinions on this issue. A netizen exclaimed, quote, "How mighty is the onslaught of Chinese real estate speculators. This could fuel suspicions in the West that China really is a threat. One day Americans might have to change their property laws." Another netizen responded with sarcasm by writing, "President Obama will soon be working with China in the near future, learning how to restrain American housing prices." One Weibo user wrote, "For now, the U.S. is still welcoming Chinese investors, but you never know when the states might introduce housing restrictions." A poster who expounded on the reason the Chinese capital has been flowing into the U.S. wrote, "Not only can those developers and buyers migrate by using investment immigration schemes, but they can also enjoy unrestricted property holding. Why would they not jump at it?" Others sternly scrutinize those Chinese wealthy enough to move into foreign lands. One wrote, China insisted on allowing some people to become rich first, but then this wealth ended up reviving the U.S. economy. A few linked such overseas property investments to recent rumors that some Chinese entrepreneurs and officials have tried to become expatriates ahead of the government's campaign to fight corruption. One wrote, "These are not investments at all, only assets transfers." Finally, a netizen tried to speculate on the reason behind rich Chinese spending lavish sums of money on flashy apartments. @Coconut737 wrote, "They're paying in cash because money from banks can be followed. They are eagerly buying up luxury properties out of concern for the long-term health of the RMB." In closing, it is noteworthy that with 1.4 million of them in 2011, China ranks a global third in terms of millionaire households after the U.S. and Japan, up by 16% year on year. We will revisit the issue of Chinese foreign property investments again. This is a story that will only gather interest. And that wraps it up for Consumer Corner and today's look at big-time real estate deals in the U.S. by some high-flying Chinese. Don't go away. Up next is Guess the Price.